Good morning on this beautiful morning. It's Friday, it's the 29th of June, and the heat wave's continuing. I've been up since the early hours of this morning because of course it's cool in the early hours. So it's lovely and cool here now. Let's just have a little look at the thermometer. As you can see, the thermometer is in the shade and it's 20, just over 20 degrees centigrade. So that's about 70. So that's a nice temperature. 70 degrees centigrade would be my idea of summer. Love it. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just walk around. I've got my coffee here, look at this. A few little things to note. I will be writing a blog today over on the website, which will be featured just simply as an update on my whole food plant-based transition from the juice fast onto eating. So I started that on Wednesday. Today's Friday, so it's very early days, I know, but everything's going well, and I want to share just the sort of anecdotal results, if you like, because there's no real results as such yet. But I'm certainly feeling just as good as I felt on the juice fast, and I'm very happy with it actually. I'm feeling really confident about it, which is amazing, because I'll just say this very briefly. Doing the juice fast for 100 days and then transitioning to the whole food plant-based lifestyle has changed, and I know it's early days, but it has changed my entire relationship with food, which is what I've been seeking for the past few decades. So there we go, it's all good. So I'll be very happy to share that with you. I know that I promised to do this on a Facebook page and on a special journal and the blog, but I think I just sort of overpromised and I got caught up with so many other things, and it was a case of spreading myself too thinly on the ground. You know how it goes. And I really want to give it my best. I don't want to be putting out stuff which I would consider to be rushed or mediocre, you know. So hopefully what I'll be doing is just a really good thorough update on this with photographs, say about once a week. I mean, I can promise you that at least once a week over on the website. So, and then that's something that I look forward to doing, you see, rather than thinking, oh, what else have I got to do today? Have I been on Twitter? Have I done my Facebook page? Have I done my, timeline? I don't ever want it to get like that. You know how that goes too. Now, I'm actually feeling a wee bit of sort of wetness here on the grass, a little bit of dew on the grass, as they say. So I think it has cooled down a wee bit overnight, which again is lovely because I'm thinking about, the plants and all the life that's here. I've noticed the bird song over the past few days has diminished quite a lot, and I think that's because of the heat. And in the same way that my sort of energy, although it hasn't diminished, it's just I've kind of reeled it back in. I'm not going to be putting myself out there just too much. I'm just going to, what do they say, tread water. I was reading through the comments on yesterday's video, and very interesting comment from Bob. And Bob, you said that you'd never heard of James Lovelock. Well, that's fair enough, because I suppose it depends, the kind of reading that you do. But I must just say this because it's fresh in my mind. James Lovelock came to my attention back in the late 70s. And I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, remember what was referred to, or what was known as the hole in the ozone layer. You remember that, the hole in the ozone layer? And that was caused by CFCs, which were found in spray cans. So whatever was in a spray can had CFC chemicals in with it in order to, I think, diffuse the spray or something like that. But anyway, James Lovelock, I think he was working out at NASA at the time, because he's very, prominent in his field. And he was also working with Lynn Margulis, who was the wife of Carl Sagan. You know Carl Sagan? If you don't know James Lovelock, you would know Carl Sagan, surely. But anyway, so he discovered the hole in the ozone layer, and then had to set about proving it, because it started off, as a theory, and that this was a problem. So he had to set about proving it. Now, I did actually mention this in a video at some point before, but I can't remember the exact name of the video. You'd have to trawl through them. But the upshot was that he had to then set about scientifically proving that the hole in the ozone layer was caused by CFCs. So it was established that there was a hole in the ozone layer. It was established that this was a threat to humankind and their existence on Mother Earth. And someone had come up with a way of being able to remedy this problem. So James Lovelock invented a machine. Absolutely brilliant scientist and inventor. He invented a machine, I think in his home in Surrey, in England, and he placed the machine in a cottage on the west coast of Ireland, as that was the place which was most unpolluted and would pick up, I suppose, pick up the evidence for CFCs in the cleanest air possible. So it would kind of leave the results indisputable. And I think the machine was placed there for about a year or so. I can't categorically say exactly, the terms of this scientific investigation. I do know that it was a local farmer who went in every evening and read the results and phoned them through to James Lovelock in the UK. And when all the results had been collected and collated, the evidence was then indisputable that the hole in the ozone layer was caused by CFCs. James Lovelock then took his evidence before a special sitting of the United Nations. This was in the late 70s. And once the evidence was presented, there was a unanimous vote to ban CFCs worldwide. So we're talking about a scientist who made a huge impact and is renowned for being an exceptional mind and for conducting the most rigorous investigations, and is also capable of creating and building scientific machinery in order to gather that information. So he is exceptional. Now James is in his late 90s now, I think. Still going strong, still exceptionally clever and lucid, and when you listen to him talk, and I mean there's videos of interviews with him up on YouTube, when you listen to him talk, it's hard to believe the man is in his 90s because he speaks like a man in his 50s, you know. I mean, just he's so with it. So that's just a very quick synopsis on James Lovelock, and I thought that worth sharing with you because he is just an exceptional man in my estimation. And there's a little exceptional cat. There's a little exceptional boy. Yes, he is. But honestly, will this boy clean himself? I mean, look at the state of his fur. Look at it. Yes, I know he's molting, but he seems to spend most of the year molting. And he's just woken up. He's obviously been asleep down in the fairy wood. If there's ever a cat that can give you a really cheesed off look, it's him. So, this is where myself and Terry were sat yesterday, just in the shade having tea and just talking. And nice little spot actually. This particular wee spot here has evolved with very little input from me. And I think that this should be a great inspiration. And I'm not bumming myself up, but this should be a great inspiration for anyone who doesn't have a garden and might only have a little patch of gravel outside of their home. This is a very small area, and you can see in there, can you see the logs? I just put down a few logs. I put a little bit of homemade compost in behind. I put a few plants in. I threw a few seeds in. Some stuff has come up on its own. I put the occasional little pot. There's a pot of mahonia there. Then little bits and bobs from the house. So you can see these lovely little brass peacocks. Then there's a little fern has come up. There's a lovely piece of wood, look, from the beach. Little piece of driftwood. There's another pot in there. There's a few of those ash trees coming up, which I may have to take out. There's a little flag iris in there. Look, a wee purple one. And so on and so forth. And just within the space of, let me see now, 6 to 8 feet, going down as far as that tree in that big pot. 6 to 8 feet and maybe 6 to 8 feet long and maybe less than 2 feet in depth, going back to the wall. And there's a lovely wee garden. And in the shade for a lot of the day, so you can sit there and, you know, it's nice and cool. There's a nice wee view of the driveway there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Lovely and cool. You see, this is where trees and the planting of trees and shrubs really comes into importance and beauty in terms of a garden. Jack having a wee drink, look, from the rain barrel up there. Bless him. Bless my little boy, Jack. He's purring because, of course, he's got a right old heavy coat of fur, and he's just been lolling about in the heat. But he's okay. Plenty of water and plenty of shade. Isn't that right, Jack? We'll keep you going. So, just show you some of the lovely flowers that's coming out here. Look at this. Look at the fuchsia under the shade of this young sycamore. And the sycamore is reaching out, and look at all the wee seeds on it. And of course that's a lovely shady spot there for the car, you see. And there's the sun coming round the front of the cottage. And those lovely big tall plants there. Willow herb. This is another sort of wildflower. It comes up here every year. Those of you who are familiar with Bealtaine Cottage and the way things progress during the summer will know that this little spot features the willow herb. Doesn't seem to move from that spot. And it turns out to be the most beautiful shade of kind of purpley pink. And there's the valerian, which has come up through the bench. So when you sit down there, you're sitting down beside the valerian. Have a little conversation with the plant. I'm feeling much more positive this morning. I think I was feeling a bit concerned yesterday, you know, with the heat and everything. But I'm feeling more positive this morning because I am seeing how Mother Earth is dealing with this. And everything seems to be okay. In fact, everything seems to be more than okay. Seems to be thriving because you see the sun that's brought out masses of flowers here on this fuchsia. This is just amazing. And here on this one, look at this. Lots and lots of seeds on the field maple as well. Oh dear, there was a car up here yesterday and it looks as though it's pushed in there a bit. Okay. Right. So we walk around the back. You're with me on my morning walk, and sort of in a small way my sort of morning inspection. Inspection sounds very official. But I'm just looking, I'm taking everything in. I'm doing a really good observation, and I'm thinking to myself, I'll throw a wee bit of water in there and in there. Now it's beautifully cool over here. It's lovely. Beautifully cool. Do you know what I find really amazing as well? That everything has gone so very still in the heat. And I'm wondering if that isn't a response from the very plants themselves, just to stay very still, so they try to keep as much moisture as possible. There's a real stillness about. And I'm looking in here into the beautiful shadowy depths, the shady depths. And then one of the first things coming around the corner is almost the shock of seeing all those roses on the old hen house. Someone said to me, "Do you not keep hens anymore?" Well, again, I suppose there's always new people coming to the website and to the YouTube channel. So those of you who are fairly recent wouldn't be aware of the fact that I've transitioned from meat eating to vegetarian to vegan. So I don't need to keep hens anymore. I enjoyed them and their produce while they were with me, and I passed them on then to a friend who has made good use of their bounty. And they were happy hens, and I liked keeping them, but I don't want to really keep animals at all, other than my furry friends that are part of my life. Isn't that right, Jack? I pulled some plastic out there from the barn. I'm going to be recycling that at the recycling centre. Now there was another comment that said, "Oh, I love your garden walks, Colette, but I really love the stone circle. So I'm going to take you up to the stone circle now. Look at these beautiful, I think they're campanula, white campanula. They're lovely. So we'll go up. Now I've got a whole heap of little plants here that need to be repotted. Oh, look at this. Lots and lots of beautiful nasturtium out on this side. So we'll go up through the shady depths. Actually, this is looking lovely now because all this beautiful cotoneaster is just arching out, and lots of fuchsia in with it as well, and willow. I mean, this little bank, which was just a muddy little place of almost no hope, seems to have thrived over recent years. So we'll go up through this little shady spot. Oh, look at this. And we're greeted by stem after stem laden with red currants in this shady little spot. Absolutely masses of them. And there's my, oh dear. That's my tablecloth still on the line. I must bring that in. It'll be sun bleached. You can see the dappled shade. Lots of little insects flying about there in the shade. All the time that I see those little insects, I'm aware that there's food aplenty for the birds. So we'll make our way to the stone circle now, and that's where I shall end this video for today. And as always, there are links underneath this video to the website, to PayPal, should you wish to buy me a coffee, to Patreon, should you wish to become a patron. The website is where you'll find the books, the Bealtaine Cottage publications, and whether you do or whether you don't, you're very welcome here at Bealtaine Cottage. Now, and here we are in the stone circle. Oh, it is lovely and cool here. Really is cool. I'm going to put my coffee cup down. Let's see, I'll put it down here. Of course, we've just enjoyed a full moon. And again, for those of you who are new to Bealtaine Cottage, this stone circle has 13 stones because there are 13 moons in a year. A woman has 13 cycles in a year. And the reason why there are willow arches rising up from each stone and arching and joining and connecting all the stones is that willow is a plant that's very much governed by the moon because it is essentially a water plant. It is a water tree. It's a tree that loves to grow beside water. It's a tree that will take up the water from the earth and bring it up and up and up. So willow would be a tree that's definitely connected as well to women, because of course I remember one of the things that a lot of my friends would say, you know, when they got their monthlies, they say, oh, all this water retention. So there's so many connections there to the moon and the way that the moon governs the water on the earth. And I know I've said this before, but I'll repeat it. My sister-in-law, who was a midwife, would say that the busiest, excuse me, the busiest time of the month was around the time of the full moon. So here we are in the stone circle. It's a lovely place to be. The energy here is absolutely wonderful. And I know I spoke a few weeks ago about trying to bring more of you here into the stone circle. I've had a few ideas on that. And when I get a little bit more time, I'll sit down and write a blog and put it out there. As usual, of course, all these videos are unscripted. My life is unscripted. I go with the flow. I respond to the energies. So does Jack. Blessings to you all. Have a lovely, lovely, peaceful, beautiful and happy weekend.